Radical Radio Collective.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're on 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Ecoradio, Australia's longest-running peace and environment radio show.
Maybe. Do you want a high five across the desk? Because you guys can't see that because we're obviously an audio-only platform. But I went for a high five and Dave gave me a fist bump. So
it's just a little practical joke I like to do.
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week airwaves. My name is Dave.
My name is Zack.
And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians in the country in which we broadcast. We're located in the city Mungingin on Turrbal, Yagara and Yugambeh land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Cubby Cubby and Yidinbarra country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quandong people, and down south we reach the Commonwealth, Nagarra, Manjali, Wandjeri, Yugambeh and Bundjalung countries. Thank you to No Idea for all the great ideas. Thank you for covering bird flu.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, the update that it was confirmed. It will probably make its way to Australia from migratory species, but it hasn't yet.
That's good.
And if it does...
when it does,
don't feed birds.
Don't let any birds cough in your mouth.
Keep your distance from birds.
Yeah.
Don't feed them because they'll tend to congregate in that area, then spread the flu that way. I also liked talking about the native Lucifer bee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Izzy.
That one was discovered by Kit Prendergast, the bee bet on Instagram, who I got to interview last year.
Yeah.
They're very cool.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Well, today on the show, Eco Radio contributor Linda has brought us an interview with Sabine Carter, an artist that is making a project called Patches of Hope. I will interview Audrey Barucci, the co-founder and CEO of People for Nature, about their alternative to COP30. And Zack, you'll tell us all about the coalition's plan to dump Australia's net zero targets.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a crazy time at the moment, as all moments are. So keep your dials tuned into 4ZZZ because this is 50 years in your ears. Let's go to the interview that Linda did with Sabine. That was... Sabine is an artist that's making a project called Patches of Hope. Linda interviewed Sabine on site at Barrabin High on a hill overlooking the city. Barrabin means windy place in the local Turrbal language, and true to the name, it was windy out there. So we apologise for some turbulence in your ear holes. Sabine has started the art project called Patches of Hope, which is centred around Barrabin, or Victoria Park, and the threat of two Olympic stadiums which looms over it. So let's go to that now. You're listening to 4ZZZ Eco Radio.
Yeah, I love to talk about my project, actually. It's called Patches of Hope, and it's supposed to be a giant patchwork blanket once it's finished. It's an organically growing project that invites people to participate in a collaborative art project. We want to have a giant patchwork blanket laid out in the park or different areas of the park to raise awareness of the threat to Victoria Park, Barrabin. It all started when I started my PhD at QUT, and I'm in the creative industry, so I chose to do a to do a PhD with a creative focus. When I heard that they would consider Victoria Park as a Olympic site, I was very upset. I hope that a lot of people contribute and work with me on this project. So we need lots of patches of hope. They are 2 by 2 meters, and once we have enough of these patches, we are laying them out and have a big picnic. We will sit with the park and enjoy it while it's still here.
You said that when you started the project that you met or discovered other people who were doing activities in the park?
Yes, initially, at the very beginning, before I had the idea for Patches of Hope, I was thinking that I would sit in the park, and maybe create some digital story and would invite people to come to a workshop. And I was picturing myself alone in the park, like an artist, like working and with the park. And then I found out that there are actually some really awesome events in the park, like, for example, wild drawing, where people gather and engage with the park through drawing and painting and just sitting together with the park as activism. So I realized that I'm actually not the only one who was thinking of creatively engaging with the park.
What do you think about the plans for the park?
It's really hard for me to process this, that they would consider to concrete over this beautiful park. It's so valuable. It has a long heritage. It has a huge indigenous significance. Other sites would probably be not so destructive as an Olympic stadium in a beautiful parkland. Yeah, so it's still early days with the project. I had the idea for Patches of Hope developed sometime in mid-October, so I hope that over time more people get involved and create one of the 2 by 2 meter patches. They are made from upcycled materials, so ideally you can source materials from op shops, or I'm happy for people to contact me as well. I'm happy to drop off fabric if someone has a sewing machine and would like to contribute. I'm happy to give them some fabric to work with. It's also a comment on waste. We don't want to use new materials, but there's so many used materials out there that it's easy to source from op shops and other places.
What was your inspiration for this?
Yeah, so my inspiration comes from an artist, a European artist called Christo and Jean-Claude, an artist couple who worked mainly in the 70s and 80s, and they are famous for wrapping up big buildings, but also other structures and coastlines and islands, and also created some, in the 70s they created some walkways in a park, and this really inspired me. So to think big, not to create something small, but really think big and work with the landscape of the park and the hills and the trees. So I envisioned something big, and Christo was my inspiration. There's also a great project in Switzerland where they created the biggest patchwork blanket in the world. So that's ended up in the Guinness Book of Records. So that's maybe not what we can achieve with this project, but I mean, one can dream big. So maybe we managed to create the biggest patchwork blanket in the southern hemisphere. So that would be amazing. So yeah.
I love that. Dream big. That was Sabina Carter, an artist that is making a project called Patches of Hope, and you can contact Sabina at sabine.carter@qut.edu.au. Sabine is spelled Sabine. Carter is spelled Carter. And you're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Ecoradio. Thank you very much, Linda, for bringing us that interview. Zack.
Yes.
You have some things to talk to us about.
I do. So, if you've seen recently, within the past week and a bit, the coalition has officially announced that it will be dumping net zero from its climate and energy policy. So, on the 16th of November, the National Coalition released its climate and energy plan that includes the removal of net zero carbon emission commitments by 2050 from their climate and energy policy.
Yeah.
In a piece titled Affordable and Responsible, the opposition's plan for affordable energy, the coalition states it will not have long-term emission reduction goals, but will rather focus to reduce emissions on a year-by-year basis and looking at it kind of in 5-year blocks. Susan Lee, the opposition leader, has criticised Labour's current energy and emissions policies that rely on a transition to renewables to achieve net zero by 2050, suggesting it is reckless and costly for the Australian people. Quote, "Our plan secures Australia's energy future by putting affordability first. Our emissions reduction goals will never come at the expense of Australian families." The plan additionally criticises the emissions targets set by the Labor government, suggesting they are comparatively high compared to other countries, and Australia is unable to meet them. Quote, "Since 2005, Australia has reduced emissions at nearly double the rate of developed countries, but to reach net zero by 2050, Labor will have to double this again. Despite the removal of net zero, a core component of the Paris Agreement, the coalition states that it can still adhere to Australia's ratification of the Paris Agreement. We remain committed to the Paris Agreement and to doing our fair share to reduce emissions, but we will do it in a way that protects households and budgets and keeps our economy strong. Ultimately, the best way to summarise this plan from a coalition perspective is that it prioritises making electricity as cheap as possible, and if net zero is reached, then that's great too. Quote, "Our focus is on results Australians can afford, not targets Australia cannot meet."
So they still want net zero, or so they say.
I don't know. I don't think they phrase it as if they want net zero, but they're looking at it as if we will transition to renewables like as safe and effective as possible, sort of thing. So
as possible in their
framework. Yes. So kind of like they will not rush ahead with certain technologies and ideas. They will do it in a way that it is affordable and effective for the Australian people.
Ways that they don't have to push their donors in the mining industry to do anything.
I presume so, but that was obviously not their announcement.
No.
Yeah, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much the opposite trend to everywhere else in the world, and I kind of think this is like it means they know who their target audience kind of like is for this proposal. It's not going to be people living in the cities most of the time.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting as well that there was quite a lot of debating around this within the Liberals, whether they actually follow through with what the Nationals did. So the Nationals decided on removing net zero from their policy earlier on the 2nd of November. And as we've seen, the Nationals and Liberals are having a bit more of a split in the marriage. They obviously split up officially earlier this year, but then came back together. So perhaps part of it is just making sure that they have an aligned objective with it, and there were a lot of Liberal members of Parliament who they did still want to keep net zero as a part of it, and it was very much a hotly debated thing. So there's a split even in the Liberal Party about this.
Yeah, so they're going to be counting it in 5-year blocks.
Yes.
What if if they ever get back into government with this policy, what if they don't reduce anything? There is no guarantees that they will reduce anything.
No.
Or that they have to reduce by this much by 2030 or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're just saying, we will watch it in this 5-year block?
Yeah, more or less. And it's just like, if it goes down, that's great, but it's not their priority anymore. They're not setting objectives to have a certain amount of emissions reductions by some point. That affordability is going to be their key thing.
Yeah, so they're not putting in prescriptive legislation for energy industries or fossil fuel industries. They're just saying, if it goes down, that's what the market wants. If it stays the same, or if it goes up, that's what the market wants. So they're just giving it to the market, and
that's more or less how I understand it.
Yeah.
It is just purely from a prices perspective. And if renewable technology does make things cheaper and more effective,
which it is,
that's cool. But they will always plan on making that transition more so to renewables once it is quote unquote more cost effective to do so.
Yeah, right. So really interesting future thinkers there.
Yes, and I also wanted to have a look at some of the statistics the coalition has provided to justify this position.
Oh, yes, please.
Because there are a lot of claims in it, that's for sure. So there was a Guardian article by Adam Morton that has done just that and has been very useful in writing this part. So check out fact-checking 5 coalition claims about net zero from power prices to the $9 trillion cost as well. I didn't get a whole heap of work done I haven't written a whole heap about the $9 trillion cost, but essentially where they get that figure from, which is mentioned several times by David Littleproud and other Liberals members of Parliament, that $9 trillion comes from a misunderstanding in reading an article that was produced by Net Zero Australia. So, electricity prices have increased by 40% since Labor was elected in 2022, which the coalition attributes to Labor's roll out of renewables. So, while this part is true technically, prices have increased 40% since 2022. Tony Wood, a senior fellow at the Grattan Institute, who we interviewed about a month and a half ago, says that it has almost nothing to do with renewable energies. If you cast your mind back to 2022, sanctions were placed on Russia after their invasion of Ukraine, and Russia is a pretty key fossil fuel energy provider, leading to a price increase of about 20%. This then cascaded to other forms of energy generation, as fossil fuels routinely set the price for these other forms of energy generation, so renewables, etc. At the same time, there were floods in Queensland, so in some of those mines were flooded, and it reduced the capacity to obviously dig for coal.
Yep.
Plus, electricity prices rebounded in 2022 after being suppressed during the COVID era. Experts have found the opposite is true, in that coal does not make electricity. Oh, not that coal doesn't make electricity cheaper. Rather that renewables makes electricity more expensive, and they've stated that prices could be 50% higher if Australia relied exclusively on coal, and that came from Paul Simshauser and Joel Gilmore from the Griffith University Centre for Applied Energy, Economics and Policy Research. And the second statistic I wanted to point out was regarding the Paris Agreement, where the coalition has said that they can still remain committed to the Paris Agreement under this policy. This technically is true. Australia won't be kicked out of the Paris Agreement, but it just won't be doing what the Paris Agreement requires. The Paris Agreement is about limiting global heating to below 2 degrees Celsius and keeping it as close to 1.5 as possible. And for that, net zero will need to be reached by about 2050. So Australia just won't be doing what is expected of it according to the Paris Agreement. However, The Guardian has posted another article stating the opposition is entirely aware that their planned climate and energy policies are at odds with Australia's obligation to the Climate Pact. So they're aware that they're not going to be able to adhere to the Paris Agreement, probably, unless it magically gets there by what the market dictates.
Unless the market wants it.
Yeah.
Really washing their hands of any responsibility there. Yeah, just a great thing for leaders of a country to do. Just wash their heads and kick it down the road, or pass the buck.
This is me being a bit petty, but
please.
In it they say that Labor badly missed their 2025 target for electricity prices. How can we believe their 2050 target for emissions? Okay. Those two things are not correlated, or not related at all, particularly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I did find it interesting when we were talking to Tony Wood from the Griffith Institute. We talked about how the only way carbon emissions came down with a government policy, or directly from a government policy, was when the Gillard government instituted the carbon tax.
Yeah.
And there was a direct...
Was that the Rudd government?
I think it was the Gillard.
Maybe.
Gillard
Sorry.
Rudd.
Yeah.
And that directly went down almost instantly too. But Tony wasn't sure if there would ever be another carbon tax, even though it looks like that's what works.
Yeah. This was also a quote from that Guardian, or like a bit from that Guardian article I mentioned just then. This is, did emissions come down while the coalition was in power? The answer is yes, but it's not because of their policies. It's because more carbon dioxide was absorbed by forests.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's nice. But if you remove that from the equation and regarding emissions, there's only been a 3% decrease in over 9 years that the coalition was in government.
Yeah.
And that's because of that transition to renewable energies as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that, Zack. That was very interesting.
Have you been loitering around like a juvenile delinquent? Are you lacking purpose in your life? Subscribe to 4ZZZ and get some warm inner glow.
Welcome back. You're on 4ZZZ. We just heard then from Goridula with Country Boy.
We like Goridula.
We love Goridula, and you'll be able to see Goridula this Saturday, the 29th of November, playing Gig City. It's no longer Pig City.
No.
The pigs have been taken over by gigs. Happening, the 29th of November at Brightside. 3 stages. Packed lineup of, I don't know, like 30 different acts.
That many?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I was looking around for the poster. I can't see the poster. But it's going to be huge.
That'll be awesome.
2 stages.
2 stages.
2 stages. 3 is a bit much.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see Goridula playing all of his tracks that he developed up at the Adani Bravis mine site, where he's been reoccupying his traditional family land, the Wanganjanglingu land up there, with his ceremony Watanangu. If you're a 4ZZZ subscriber, you actually get a big discount on those tickets. I think you can get tickets for $60.
Solid.
Yeah. So instead
What's that? That's like $2 per act.
Yeah.
That's a crazy bargain.
Yeah, that is actually. Yeah. So that's instead of the $77 for non-subs. But if you like what we do here at 4ZZZ and you want to be a part of the 50 years in your ears, the 50 years of Z in your head, you can join 4ZZZ, join the family, go to 4zzz.org.au and become a part of the volunteers that make this station run. We're all volunteers here on the announcer team.
Yep.
And it's a great team to be a part of. So, yeah, head to 4zzz.org.au and join the family. Become a 4ZZZ subscriber. If you subscribe this month, which we're slowly or quickly running out of, you go in the winning to win Dave's Wine Revival sub-pack. That's a wine tasting for 6 people and a mixed case of 12 wines.
That sounds pretty good.
It sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
From the only other Dave that I know of. We're a pretty rare breed, the Daves.
I don't know. I've never seen you and this other Dave in the same room.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't drink anymore, so that only just means that I'm not getting high off my own supply.
Maybe you just, you set up an exceptional facade then too. Yeah. That's making me even more suspicious.
Throwing people
now.
off the wine scent.
Yes.
So there's many great reasons to become a subscriber to this wonderful station. Become a part of the community that helps the community, amplifies the community voices. And, it's 50 years in your ears. Let's go to the community radio remix of 50 Years of Zed. This is done by the Randomised Experience, a whole bunch of folk that put their time and effort into making this song for the 50th. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This is Ecoradio.
Paradigm Shift's podcast is available online and via your favourite podcasting app, challenging the assumptions of our current society to investigate alternative ways of living for a world based on justice, solidarity, and sustainability. Tune in to the Paradigm Shift podcast. Just search The Paradigm Shift for ZZZ.
Welcome back. You're on 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio. We just heard then from 50 Years of Zed. That was the song that was put together by the Randomised Experience. A bunch of volunteers who put their time in and effort to make that song an anthem for 50 years of 4ZZZ. And you can buy that on Bandcamp, and that goes directly to 4ZZZ. So there's plenty of ways that you can get involved. I wasn't around last week, but Zack, thank you for taking over the show. I hope you had a good time.
I always have a good time.
Okay, that's good. It was nice. Izzy was in as well.
Yeah.
That's always nice to hear.
She's been demoted to Isabel, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because DJ Izzy Brown was on the show more recently. So she's taken...
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Izzy Brown from Combat Wombat.
Yeah, so
who you can also check out at Gig City this weekend.
She's taken hierarchy in the Isabel Izzy ranking.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There always needs to be rankings of people on this show. So yeah.
Exactly.
The reason I wasn't here last week was I was in Indonesia.
Oh.
I went to Bali and Java. I spent a lot of time in Java in a town or city called Yogyakarta, spelt with a Y because of the Dutch. And
Dutch.
Yeah, the Dutch East Indies Company. And while I was there, Indonesia is the most populous Muslim majority country in the world. And I saw a whole bunch of Free Palestine graffiti.
Cool.
Yeah, like a lot of like very well, like not just scrawled on a telephone box, but like put up in big places, big walls, a big Palestinian flag. I've seen it on cars. I saw it on a dude's hat. They were very pro-Palestine there, which I find odd.
Why?
Because they're also occupying West Papua.
Yeah.
From the Papuan people.
Yeah.
So I find it odd that they're pro-Free Palestine, but not pro free West Papua.
It's all about perspective, though, right? Like, I'm sure that how the Indonesian government has framed this to them, and it's like it's quote unquote rightfully theirs or whatnot. It's all about how you're educated in that area and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it could be a very big portion of propagandizing. But West Papua is very good for the Indonesian economy.
Yes.
It's got the largest gold mine in the world.
As well, I think it's at the point where there's more quote-unquote ethnic Indonesians living on West Papua than West Papuans.
Right.
So...
Well, that'd be another case of the occupation, right?
Depends on how... Yeah.
What's it like in Palestine? Are there more ethnically Israeli people than Palestinian people now? Like, that's just ethnic cleansing of its own sorts.
Yeah, it's a displacement, right?
Yeah. So, I found that really interesting. I'd like to find some Indonesian people to talk to about it in coming shows. And then, I think that would be really interesting.
And then there's been East Timor historically, or Timor-Leste, historically as well. Mm-hmm. Where that was, again, another territory that Indonesia occupied and led to a pretty brutal civil war. Not civil war, sorry, a pretty brutal, sovereignty war.
Yeah, so, there's like a whole bunch of islands around, in the Indonesian archipelago are occupied by Indonesia and another country. So the island of Borneo, part of that is Indonesia.
Malaysia and Brunei.
Part of Sumatra is, part Indonesia.
Yeah.
I find, this whole, border situation in Indonesia quite confusing.
It's pretty interesting because, modern Indonesia is pretty much just the remnants that were left over by the Dutch East Indies. And so you had a collective, you had this area that the Dutch and East Indies control, but there wasn't a whole lot of ethnic similarities between them. So Indonesia had when it was in formation as a state, it had to do a lot to get unifying features between all of these groups of different ethnicities to create a quote unquote Indonesian ethnicity. Because if you look at someone from an Indonesian from Borneo, and then someone who's Indonesian from the capital, Jakarta, very different backgrounds. And so that was part of East Timor-Leste as well. It was about they were trying to get them to adopt this quote-unquote Indonesian identity rather than their previous identity.
So they could have a shared value system or something.
Yeah, because you got to have people, join together when you're forming a state. Otherwise, if you look at what's happened...
it'll just break apart again.
Or if you look what's happened and how the colonization has done to Africa and how they've just had no regard for drawing their borders, considering different groups of people. There's constant infighting between different ethnicities in Africa. So that's been the cause of a lot of issues in Indonesia as well, And there's also going back to West Papua, there's a lot of racism towards West Papuans too.
Yeah, there sure is.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
No, I love it. Especially, seeing as how you're studying international relations, I find this, really interesting subject to talk about. What is another interesting subject to talk about? The Bushcare Roundup.
It is.
Yeah. So, here it goes. It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds, and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup. This is the Bushcare Roundup. This is where we cover or collate some of the environmental and peace volunteering opportunities and rallies that you can get behind in the week ahead. Starting off on Sunday the 30th. Starting off at Saturday the 29th, obviously, Gig City. So that's at Brightside, $60 for Z subscribers. But happening on Sunday at 6 a.m, you can go to the Taringa Community Garden Working Bee. That's at Perrin Park in Toowong. At 7 o'clock, you can go to the Bushcare Working Bee in Quandong Park in Ashgrove. At 7:30, you can go to Harman's Reserve Working Bee. That's Harman's Park in Manly. At 8 o'clock, you can go to the Austinville Landcare tree planting. That's happening in Austinville. At 8 o'clock, you can go to a November Working Bee at Thredbo Place Park in Belmont. And 8 o'clock, you can go to a Bushcare Working Bee at Riverdale Park in Meadowbrook.
On Tuesday the 2nd at 11:30 a.m, there's a sea slug survey in the Rocky Shores. That one is at John Laws Park in Burleigh Heads. And then finishing up on Wednesday the 3rd at 8 a.m. There's a Brisbane River cleanup, and that one is in Morningside.
Is that a Brisbane River cleanup with Ocean Crusaders?
I believe so.
Yeah, nice. I've done a few of those cleanups there.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, it's work. Like, you're not just picking up a little bit of trash. You're like pulling shit out of mud and crawling through Cockspur to get that one last plastic bottle. But it's very rewarding, and it's a great team to go out with and be part of. What are you going to choose from that week, Zack?
I don't know. I'll probably go and do my own thing.
Okay. You go find another lizard that's slowly evolving to have less legs?
Yeah, something like that.
What was the lizard that you found recently?
Varro's skink.
Varro's skink.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Zack, I want to send you across to the coolest cat on radio, Jordan, with Sonic Aliens. I want to send you across with a song I hope you'll like. It's by a band called Double Date. It's called Rat King.
They did write that one about me.
It's a great little ditty, and it goes a little something like this. Thank you very much for joining us here on 4ZZZ. This has been Ecoradio. I've been your friendly announcer, Dave.
I've been your neutral announcer, Zack.
Enjoy Sonic Aliens, folks, and we'll see you at Gig City. Ciao.
It could be the result of an